Okay, let's dive straight into this critique. We're looking at a really pointed analysis of a political commentator, specifically focusing on claims around hypocrisy and some pretty dangerous conspiracy theories after a colleague's death.
Right. A lot of strong feelings in the source material, which is understandable.
Absolutely. And that's actually the first thing we need to tackle, sort of the strategic side of that emotion.
How it's coming across.
Exactly. So the highly emotional and hyperbolic language running through the piece, well, it's actually weakening the impact of your factual points.
Mm-hmm.
I totally see the impulse, you know? You want to convey the shock, the visceral reaction these claims provoke, but leaning so heavily on words like vile, lunatic, delusional, even so stupid, it starts to sound like just personal dismissal.
Yeah, it feels more like venting than arguing, maybe?
Kind of. And while writing it might feel satisfying, you risk pushing away people who could otherwise be completely convinced by the objective reporting you do have, like naming innocent people, forcing them to refute things publicly. Those are powerful facts.
But they get drowned out by the tone.
Yeah, the emotional overlay from the host sort of overshadows the documented evidence.
I think the shift needs to be from, like a witness telling a shocking story to more like a prosecutor building a case, ice cold.
Okay.
Because when you lead with the hyperbole, you give the other side an easy way to dismiss you, right? Just call you emotional.
True.
The goal should probably be a more analytical, critical tone. You want to deliberately let the facts and the official responses, like that UNL chapter statement, you want those to make the listener feel the out naturally.
Let the evidence do the emotional work.
Exactly. Think about focusing the language on the action, the logical impact, not just labeling the person.
Right.
So, for instance, the hypocrisy about wealth. That's, it's pretty obvious, low-hanging.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of just saying, I can't stop laughing at her lies, maybe frame it around the logic.
Okay, so something like, the material highlights a clear contradiction when discussing her claim about not caring about money.
Yeah, juxtaposed with being married to someone reportedly worth $200 million and having drivers and cooks. Yeah.
The contrast speaks for itself, quietly devastating, like you said.
And you apply that same coolness to the more serious stuff, the TPUSA Connect. Instead of just calling it crazy, focus on the argument itself.
How?
Maybe something like, let's actually examine the logical leap required here, connecting a 3-month event lead time to some kind of inside job assassination. It forces the listener to see how thin the premise is.
By holding back your own emotional reaction, you actually make the listener's reaction stronger when they see the fact. It adds weight, authority.
Definitely. And maintaining that authority really relies on how you structure the whole thing.
Which brings us neatly to the next point. You've got fantastic evidence, but if it's not laid out right,
it just doesn't hit as hard.
Exactly. Let's talk structure and flow. Because the way it jumps around now between different claims, well, there's no clear buildup, no escalation. And that really diminishes the power of your strongest evidence.
It feels a bit like everything's given equal weight, doesn't it?
Yeah, like the personal hypocrisy about money is treated the same as these really serious, damaging allegations based on, frankly, flimsy timelines like the Egyptian plane thing.
When everything's shouted, nothing sounds particularly loud.
Precisely. And the most critical pieces, the proof of real harm, the refutations, like the UNL chapter head statement, the innocent guy's response, they're kind of buried.
Right, they're just mixed into the general flow instead of being presented as the knockout punches they are.
They should be the climax, right? Not just another point along the way.
Absolutely. So the suggestion here is to really rethink the structure, build a cohesive case that focuses specifically on the methodology being used and the danger it creates.
Like a funnel, maybe? Start broad, then narrow down?
Kinda. Start with the easier stuff, like the personal flaws, then move into the baseless conspiracy theories, and then, crucially, end with the solid evidence of real-world consequences.
Okay, so make that the end point.
Yeah, I'd even suggest creating a distinct section. Maybe call it something like, the reckless propagation of baseless claims, proof of real-world harm. Something direct.
I like that. And within that section,
start with the weakest rationales first. Contrast that 3-month lead time for the event where the assassination happened with her own claims about needing months and months for planning. Show the internal inconsistency.
Exactly. Then you escalate the absurdity. Move from that shaky timeline to the truly delusional claim, as you put it, about the Nebraska TPUSA chapter rechartering.
The private plane connect.
Right. Connecting that to a private plane staying nearby for 5 days. The link is ridiculous, but showing it establishes just how low the bar for evidence is set here.
Got it. Weak claim, then weaker claim.
And then you hit them with the consequences. This is critical. Immediately after showing how baseless these claims are, you present the proof that people were directly harmed.
This is where the UNL statement comes in.
Absolutely. Present that statement from Ethne Barnhouse. Make it clear her chapter's rechartering had nothing to do with outside actors, and then use her words hammer home her quote, claims that can put real people at risk. That's the pivot from abstract theory to concrete danger.
Yes, that's narrative gold, as you said earlier. And then, for the absolute final climax, the most powerful point?
The innocent man, the guy in the hoodie.
Precisely. You dedicate specific focus to that, detail how his image was amplified, how he was targeted, include his explanation just getting food, wearing silly stuff.
And explicitly state the severity, like sicking a bunch of crazy people onto this utterly innocent individual for no reason.
Yes, that deliberate, evidence-based escalation, hypocrisy, weak claims, documented harm that builds maximum power. It proves the commentator's methods aren't just sloppy, they're dangerous.
That structure delivers the authority. Okay.
That structure gives you the impact you're clearly aiming for.
Right. So moving from the intellectual impact to the flow of the critique itself, we're dealing with really heavy themes here. Death, conspiracy, real people getting hurt. Which brings us to a practical point, the third area, integrating things like sponsor reads without breaking the spell.
Ah, the ad break. Yeah.
Because the inclusion of that very extensive, very detailed sponsor read, especially where it sits right now, it just creates this really abrupt rupture. It jolts the listener out of the seriousness.
It really lessens the authority you've built up. Hugely jarring.
Yeah, and it's a risk, right? When you're covering something this sensitive, you shift straight from discussing someone being unfairly targeted, put at risk,
The guy in the hoodie.
to suddenly hearing all these granular details about, what was it, OneSkin products?
Yeah, the body moisturizer, the peptide lip mask, the OS1 peptide wrinkles, crepiness, 5 clinical studies, the nightly rewind gift set. I mean, it's a lot of detail.
That level of product info, right after talking about death threats, it just feels completely mismatched, disconnected.
It can feel like it trivializes the serious topic you just covered, undercuts the listener's trust in your tone.
Kills the momentum, kills the mood. You've got the listener thinking about real danger, and suddenly they're supposed to switch gears to anti-aging peptides?
Doesn't work. And that's why placement and transitions are so critical with ad segments when the main content is intense. Does dropping specific product details right after discussing someone's life being endangered undercut the gravity? Yeah, it does.
So the suggestion is really 2 things, placement and transition.
Right.
Put the ad breaks somewhere else, maybe much earlier, before you get to the most serious, ethically charged parts.
Or, if it has to stay roughly where it is, you need a very deliberate transition, acknowledging the shift.
Okay, so first, make absolutely sure the segment about the innocent man, the danger he was put in, is totally finished. Give it the space and weight it deserves. Don't jump straight from that peak into the ad.
Let it breathe for a second.
Yeah, then use a short, clean phrase to bridge the gap. Something really direct.
Like?
Maybe, we've discussed the serious implications here. Before we summarize the key takeaways, let's take a quick moment for a word from our partner.
Simple. Acknowledges the seriousness, signals the pause politely.
And then this is crucial when you come back, you immediately reference the critique again. Reestablish that sharp, critical focus. No lingering connection to the ad content.
Just get right back to it, full stop.
Yeah, that discipline maintains the narrative authority through the whole piece.
Makes sense.
Okay, so wrapping up, this submission has really strong bones. Powerful evidence, a necessary critique. To really maximize its impact, hit those points home, we're suggesting 3 main action steps.
First, that voice. Redefine it. Shift from emotional reaction to analytical critique. Be the prosecutor.
Let the facts, the logic fails, the documented harm, let that carry the emotional weight. Present the evidence so clearly the listener feels the outrage themselves.
Second, structure. Structure. Rebuild the narrative to escalate the severity.
Innocent man's story. Make those the closing argument. Undeniable.
And finally, handle those structural elements like sponsor reads carefully. Don't let them break the flow or undermine the seriousness. Perfect the placement, use sharp transitions.
You really do have all the pieces for a powerful authoritative takedown here. These changes will just sharpen it, significantly boost the impact and the credibility.
Absolutely. We are genuinely looking forward to seeing the revised version. Send it back our way when you're ready for another look.